here, and he was saying that you guys had a discussion when you were on a recruiting trip back in Alabama, and he was hosting, and that what a small world it is that now you're right back in the same quarterback room.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that and joked around with it a little bit. Just him being at Alabama and really before he took off too with his career and the amazing, obviously the national championship run he had, and then getting drafted and everything. So it's pretty cool. Just we were both like just young kids, both heading into college, and then now here we are on the same team. Man, it's pretty cool.
Your early impression of working with Lombardi and what he's brought to the role.
Yeah, man, Mick's been awesome. Just extremely competitive and just fiery in everything that he does. And for us in the quarterback room, a lot of times it's about making the right decisions and that kind of thing. But the way that he runs meetings and stuff, he's just on fire all the time. And when we get out in the field, you feel it too. And so it's been good, man. We love obviously just where he's been throughout his career, New England, and coming here and. It's just been really special, honestly, just picking his brain and how he coaches, man. We all love him and excited to, go to battle with him this year. So.
What kind of off-season work did you do with Ricky and Jacob, and do you think that that's helped chemistry at this point?
Yeah, they came down to Jacksonville when we were training over there and just working on the little details of routes and timing and where they're supposed to be. When they can expect the ball out of their breaks on certain routes. Obviously, that's such a huge thing with quarterbacks and receivers, and so I think starting that pretty early in the offseason, and then we translate that all the way over here to OTAs. We've definitely seen that, and I think Cowing's had a great OTAs so far, and getting in and out of cuts and being the first one to lead lines and show guys how routes are supposed to be ran. So he's taken a huge leap there, man. So. Really excited for him and his development, and so excited to keep throwing to him.
It looks like Cowing and Garendo look almost faster than last year, and you guys added Watkins as well. From your perspective, how does that change the job, knowing you have that much more speed with your weapons this year?
Yeah, man, they look good. They look fresh, healthy, like jumping off the line, getting in and out of cuts. Like you could feel them, and so for me, I'm extremely excited, obviously, to have guys that can push the limit. Push the ball down the field. Obviously, if we get them in one-on-one situations with their speed, it's gonna be tough for the defense to guard them. So, for me, it's like really exciting. Obviously, you got George, Christian, you got our guys, but to see these young guys step up and pushing the envelope, man, pretty early in the offseason, it's been pretty special for me to see. So, obviously, the more weapons that we can have, obviously, the better. So, gonna continue to chip away with those guys, but. They've definitely come in with the right attitude, right mindset this offseason so far, and I'm really excited to get into camp and the season with those guys.
Brock, what's it been like to work on just the chemistry with a guy like Demarcus Robinson, who's been around a while and kind of knows his way? How have you guys connected?
Yeah, Demarcus has been awesome, man. Just having that veteran receiver in that receiving core and the receiving room and showing those guys, sort of just – what it's like to be a vet receiver. He's very smart. He's come in, he's learned the playbook, and not only that, like he's actually gone out every single day and just competed, man, and getting up and down with the ball and tracking the ball in and getting in and out of cuts as well. But you could just tell like he's a seasoned vet. He's been here, how certain routes are supposed to be ran, just being on top of everything, not really messing up. Like I feel like he's done a great job, and we're going to continue to learn each other and. How he gets, around and how I can get him the ball and so just lifting the meetings, all the things like just seeing him in the locker room talking and stuff. You can just tell like he's been in the league for a while, so that's pretty special to have in this locker room, man, and especially for those young guys too. So he's a great leader, and I'm excited to go work with him.
From Jordan Watkins, the rookie in particular, it seems like he's getting some reps with the starters.
Yeah, he's balling, man. Jordan Watkins has been balling from day one. Really, he's come in and has done everything pretty right, and he's been on point. He's had a lot of explosive plays down the field, and obviously the short game, the intermediate. He's making plays all around. So I'm excited for him. Obviously, we know it's a process throughout this whole thing, from OTAs to the 40 days away to camp, and I know he knows that. But man, I'm really excited to keep working with him and for him to keep learning our offense and how we do things. But definitely a rookie that has popped out in front of everybody.
I know you're more focused on the team goals, but on a personal level, the last few days, taking the field, having accomplished that goal of getting the second contract in the NFL, is that set in for you?
I mean, I'm extremely grateful and appreciative of it, and getting it done, and it's for sure a big deal, and I'm not taking anything away from that. But for me, it's been every time I step on the field, my mindset hasn't changed. It's been I go out there, we got our plays for the day, and where I have to get better. You know, Coach Mick Lombardi, Clay Kubiak, like they coach us hard in the quarterback room, and so when I step out in the field, I mean, I have to work on these fundamentals today. I have to go out there and be sharper than I was yesterday on a lot of things, and push the limit with other guys around me and help them get better. So, I mean, that's what I'm focusing on. It's not necessarily I step out in the field and I'm on my second contract now and it feels good, this and that. Dude, you'll get humbled really quick. So I just got to always remind myself of that and keep pushing myself in that way.
You got 1 week left in the off-season program. So these last couple months, what's been the one moment, either here on the field or meeting rooms or off campus, so to speak, where this team has had the bonding moment it needs to have?
Man, I think I want to say it was last week. We had some Navy SEALs come in and sort of just do this week of presentations and what it means to have a standard and a culture and all that. And I think just the events and things that we did with each other were pretty cool, and the conversations that we've all had. Because I mean, we're with guys that are on defense talking about what it means to be a Niner and like what it takes, and so I think that was a pretty special moment. But outside of that, man, just like the jokes and the locker room and the lifting and everyone's here, man. You know, like I think all those moments you can't get enough, especially what we're about to go through in this journey and this challenge of a year. Like it's going to be a special thing and a unique thing to be able to get guys that are, new come in and we got to roll together, man. We got to go through some things together. And so the last week was pretty cool, but I mean, just all the little moments in the locker room and lifting. So
The Navy SEAL stuff before, because they said they've done it a couple times, but have you taken part of that?
No, I wasn't here for that. So this is my first time going through it, and just obviously hearing their stories and what it's like, being on a SEAL team unit and how that translates to us being a football team and doing stuff that's not ordinary and everything like that. So it was pretty special for me and eye-opening for sure.
How important is it for you to have that veteran leadership from guys like Jawad and DeMarcus, because your wide receivers room looks a little bit different than it did last year?
Yeah, it's huge. We got some young guys that are definitely going to need to step up and make plays for us, winning man-to-man matchups and play 17 games of good football and getting in and out of cuts and taking care of your body. Like there's this whole thing that goes with playing in the NFL, and it's not easy. And so to have some vets like JJ, DeMarcus, obviously even Kittle and Christian, like those guys we can all help these young guys, especially in that receiving core, understand what it takes for the long haul and, what it's going to take game one, week one, training camp, all those things. And so obviously anytime you lose guys or it looks different, people will always ask, like, is it going to be the same or how, like, what is it going to look like? That's the challenge that we're going through right now, but I really do believe that we have the right guys and the right rookies and young guys that will make a big leap in the right steps for this team and, for the quarterbacks, and vice versa, man. We're going to continue to grow together. But it's huge, man, having those guys that could continue to lead and show them the way. So I'm excited for this year.
Mick Lombardi's dad obviously was with a few teams. As an executive, your coach, Kyle, who his dad is. Brian Greasy, who his dad is. Kubiak's, can you tell that these guys, when you first meet them, have this just wealth of information that comes from absorbing football from a young age?
Yeah, no doubt. I think, they've been through it at such a young age, being around it, growing up, from being ball boys to GAs or whatever, like just working their way up and being around so much football. And a lot of the concepts that, they teach have come from obviously like their dads and, the Niners back in the 90s when Mike Shanahan was here, to the Broncos, to here, like there's things that have sort of like, stayed within this whole process. And so to be able to learn from them and those lessons, for me, like as a quarterback, I'm always like itching to ask questions and what it was like and how they coached back then and what's the same, what's different. So it just gives us a good perspective on a lot of things revolving around football. And obviously Mick, like I said, coming from New England and him being around Brady and Josh McDaniel's system and Belichick, like it's pretty cool, to be able to have like all these different kind of perspectives and what works, what hasn't worked for them. And it's a lot of successful people, in the building being able and willing to teach you what they've learned. So I'm extremely grateful for that, and I know all the quarterbacks in the room are too. But extremely grateful that we have so much football knowledge in general. So.
You're going to miss about having Greasy around. I realize it's natural to look forward with the coaches currently on staff, but anything that stands out from your time working with him and his impact?
Yeah, obviously just him playing the game, and being in certain situations. He was always teaching me, like, in certain moments and on the sideline, like we'd be mid-drive and a penalty or a timeout or something would happen. We'd go over and, Greasy was so good at just, hey, in this moment, be ready for this. Or with the ball, this is the clock situation. Let's take care of it. And if it's not there, do this. Like, he was very good at those moments in situational football and stuff because he played the position, which is really, really cool. And I was extremely grateful for that. But like I said, like before, this is part of the business where, coaches leave or things happen and you got a new coach come in. You got to learn from them and what their strengths are. So that's where we're at. Extremely fired up to work with Mick, but extremely grateful for what Greasy's done for me in my career.
I have a personal question when it comes to looking at the fact that you and Mac had history in college, and then now you're playing next to each other, going from Mr. Irrelevant to now having your contract and seeing what it means to be resilient and where that can take you. Do you think back on those moments to help fuel you to go into a season like next season, after a season like last season, to give you a reason to stay resilient and a motivation to know that something better can come?
Yeah, I think every single year it's like that. Even after we lost the Super Bowl, like last year's mindset was definitely, hey man, I got to get better. And things happen throughout the season, yes. But every single season, no matter what, for me at least, it's always been, I got to sink back into my fundamentals. I have to be on top of my stuff. There's moments in games where, I put my head on my pillow and it's like I run through what I could have done better, what I did do good, and need to continue to build off of. But I think at the end of the day for me, like with my story, obviously I was drafted last and having that chip on my shoulder to, when I first showed up here, like trying to prove to my teammates here and everybody here that I belonged and that I could do what it takes here. And from that moment, like I feel like I proved to myself that I could play here. And I can't lose that. And I've had to learn, throughout the last 3 years, there's been moments where that slowly it shifted at some points, but the moments that I go back to having that chip on my shoulder, that's when I play my best football. So that's what I have to sink back to, every single game, every single moment.
How you doing?
Good. How are you guys? Good.
When you, obviously the 2021 and then the draft lead up and everything, there's so much talk here about the possibility of you being a 49er. How do you look back on that time and what was your mind at? Where were you at that point?
Yeah, it's honestly just crazy to think that I'm going into my 5th year and time flies, right? So going into the draft seems like a long time ago, and I got a chance to meet with a lot of great coaches during that process, this place being one of them. And obviously the world works in mysterious ways, so I'm glad to be back here and learning from a great group of guys, and that's players and coaches. So you go where you go in the draft, right? You don't get a lot of choice over that, but I'm definitely excited to be here now.
Here, and obviously you think this is a good system for you. Why is this a good system for you?
Yeah, I think when you go through your first free agency, that's the first time you get to pick where you want to play. And obviously this was a really enticing place for me, seeing the production that the quarterbacks put out throughout the years in Kyle's offense, and obviously watching Brock from afar and being a fan from afar, just the way he plays the game, very precise, very on time, cerebral. So it's all things that I've done at some points in my career, and I just want to get more consistent at that. So being here and learning from him and the coaches, not just Kyle but everybody, all the coaches, I think it's going to really benefit me, just get me back playing how I know I can play, and that's to be ready when I get in there.
Did you and Kyle ever have to put whatever happened in 2021? Did you ever address that before you decided to come here?
Yeah, we got in a huge fight, and I'm just kidding. We were cool. Kyle and I texted a little bit, and once again, I always love watching their tape. you know, when you look at stats around the league, they're always in the top 5. You see the little San Francisco logo. So I always love watching what Kyle did and throughout the years, and to finally get in and learn it, it's been a little bit challenging, but also a great challenge because it's some things I've done and some things I haven't done at all. And that's interesting, being my 5th year in the league, learning different footwork and timing and how he sees the game. So it's all going to come together here, and I'm really excited to, like I said, learn from Brock, and he does a great job just following his rules and sticking to the program.
A previous relationship with Brock, or did you know him before this year?
Yeah, obviously he came to Alabama on an official visit, you know, one of those years, and we got to hang out, eat dinner, and then go back and play video games at my apartment. So we always talk about that and how crazy the world works. I mean, his story is so cool to me, just going where he went in the draft and then just working his butt off and getting what he deserves. I think that's something that anybody can look at and be like, wow, that was impressive, and his just will to do everything the right way is something that stuck out to me. And like I said, I'm looking forward to working with them. We're obviously early in this working relationship, but everything's been going really smooth.
Kyle's system that's
One more follow-up. Did you work with him in Jacksonville too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had a little bit of connection there. Obviously, throwing in the offseason, he's down there with a couple other quarterbacks, so it's been good.
Kyle's system that's so quarterback friendly.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a loaded question. I think they do a great job explaining what the expectation of each play is and why they're doing a certain play. And there's nothing left up to doubt, if that makes sense. And everything's based on timing and rhythm, and also playing off structure. So it has all 3 elements of quarterback play. And yeah, it's really interesting to watch it and see how they see the game, because it is the correct way to see it. And as you can tell, the quarterback play is very efficient.
Visit. Was there anything about Brock that stood out to you that you still see in him today?
Yeah, I think he's just like a cool, laid-back dude, and like I said, a hard worker. Obviously, he didn't end up coming to Alabama, but played really well in college. And you know, I came in the draft in 2021, and you know, he's still in college, and then he came out and did a great job just earning his respect in the league. So I have a lot of respect for him, and I know he's really hungry. Just being in the room with him, you know, I've been fortunate to be around some good quarterbacks, and to see him still hungry and working every day. And he's a perfectionist. We both are, so it's kind of fun to, you know, have those little battles and things like that.
Marty was saying that he was the wide receivers coach when you were a rookie in New England. Now he's running your room.
Yeah.
What's it like to have somebody that you have sort of a connection with when you got here?
Yeah, for sure. I think it is interesting. We're kind of in similar boats where, you know, it didn't work out in the previous spot, and now we're here trying to get better and learn from a great system. And Mick and I obviously go back. He worked with the receivers and stuff, but you know, there's always little lingos and sayings that we have that go back to those times. But he's done a great job, and I wasn't with him in the quarterback room previously. Obviously, I had some experience in Vegas with that, so he's done a great job. Keeps it fun, really high energy guy. I love that about Mick. He's the same guy every day, and he really just wants all of us to get better. So if we have to go in the game, we'll play really well as a 49er.
Work with him directly in the quarterback room so far, just early returns.
Mick?
Yeah.
It's been great. Obviously, you know, when I first was deciding to come here, that was a familiar face that I knew, and just talking with him, he knows kind of how I learned football. So it is interesting, and obviously we're both trying to continue to learn this system, and he's done a great job just keeping it simple with me and Brock and Tanner and everybody. So I really appreciate him. Looking forward to watching him continue to coach us hard. I think he does it in a way he coaches you really hard, but it's not like, you know, yelling at you and bashing you down. He's going to lift you up and say, hey, this is what we need to do better. Let's get it done. So I really appreciate that about him.
Watching Sam Darnold's path and how he was here for a year and then had success in Minnesota, was that something that you kind of watched and enticed you more to come to the 49ers?
For sure, yeah. Like I said, I mean, multiple quarterbacks have played in the system really well, and that's the enticing part about it. And obviously I'm going to be my own person, and my goal is to be ready when I have to play or if that comes up. And that's all you can do is put your best foot forward every day, learn from every rep you get and every rep you don't get. Being back there, watching Brock like I talked about, and then have had a good OTA so far, and just got to continue to build on that.
Been together long, but I'm curious to know. Sorry,
You're good.
you got to get in there. I'm sorry. Being that you guys haven't been together long, I'm just interested to know what's the coolest conversation, maybe the most memorable conversation that you've had in the locker room with the guys since becoming a Niner.
Yeah, to be honest, I probably wouldn't get into any crazy details, but I do think it is cool, and that's a good question because for the young guys on the team, and I've talked to some of them about it, and I'm still, I'm getting up there a little bit, but I'm still young in my mind, and to be able to learn from some of the players that they have in front of them is like an opportunity that I would never pass up. And for me, I'm asking questions every day, and for the rookies and second-year guys, they should be doing the same because you got all pro players in front of you, like the Kittles of the world and everybody. So each room has a guy that's like legit, and it's a really good time to ask questions and just watch them and see how they move and see how they do everything. And that's the best way to learn in this league. When you have that, I feel like that's when success happens.
A pretty unique career. You took over for Brady. You played for Belichick. You played for Saban.
Yeah.
How would you compare? What did you take away from Saban and from Belichick that you utilize today?
Yeah, I think obviously learned a lot. Been fortunate to play for some great head coaches, including my high school coach as well. Was a Hall of Fame coach in Florida, but with Coach Saban and Coach Belichick, I've learned a lot from them. Just watching from not playing really is when I started at Alabama, not playing at all. I was third string and just trying to learn something and taking notes every day. But Coach Saban just so attention to detail oriented, and that's something that I'll take with me forever, and that's what type of person I am. So I'm excited to learn from the guys here because I feel like they're that way as well, and I see a lot of similarities in the way the programs are run. So I'm excited to try and do everything they ask me to do correctly, the way they want it done, and almost be like a rookie in that sense where I'm learning everything I can and trying to apply it to the field, and obviously remembering my past, but also moving forward into a new system.
Immersing yourself into this system as much as you can, as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Where do you think you are right now?
I think it's been good. Today was a little bit shaky for me, but that's how practice goes. My goal has been, like I said, every attempt should be committed to the throw. Mick's talked to me about that, where if it's supposed to go to that guy, go in there and rip it and live with the result. And that's all you can do. And this playbook is based on footwork and timing, like I talked about. So I just continue to grow in that aspect. And obviously, you're kind of drinking from a water hose a little bit. But I've also played in a lot of different offenses, and this has been a great experience for me so far. And I'm looking forward to finishing strong and then really getting into those 30 days that we have between the season and kind of go back and, all right, this is what I did well, this is what I didn't do well. How can I get more reps on air with my footwork and my timing, and then be ready to go for the preseason.
You mentioned you don't want to look back too often, but how much have you spent looking back at your first couple stops here, maybe what didn't go well, what did go well, and just kind of how it can help you get better moving forward?
Yeah, for sure. I think just for me, just acknowledging what I could have done better, always looking inward, and obviously learning from some great people along the way, and then taking those scars and kind of brushing them off and using them as power, because I think at some point those are going to help me. They have helped me, whether that's here or in practice or maybe in a game in the future. That's what I'm looking forward to is you may not think about a specific instance, but that'll make you stronger in the long run. And like I said, I'm putting my new foot forward and trying to learn from a great organization.
Were there specific themes or things that you saw, like whether it was a fundamental that was off or just things that maybe didn't go the way you expected them to? Or?
Yeah, of course. That's part of football. And like I said, my goal is to really just have great attempts. Is the ball supposed to go there? And if it is, then let it fly and be committed to it. Sometimes, when you watch my film, maybe it is it wasn't a full commitment throw. And I want to get better at that. And I have when I've been out there. And that's the whole point of football, is to try those throws, learn from them, and then when you get to the game, you can say, hey, I can do this, or I'm going to check this one down. I'm trying to protect the ball. So I've learned, the hard way in a way, but I also am going to focus on myself and the guys around me.
You said you were already helping out Michael. What have you seen from him so far?
Seen a lot of talent, a lot of eagerness to learn, more so than I've seen probably from any young guy. He's just wants to learn as much as he can, and I'm excited to give all the knowledge I can to him, and I think he's got a ton of talent, so sky's the limit.
When you have someone like that that's eager to learn, do you force feed him everything you know, or do you kind of spoon feed it a little bit at a time? Or
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't force anything. I just try and give him enough that if I put myself in his shoes as a rookie, what would have helped me, what would have been too much, I try to avoid. So, yeah, just get him focused on the right things, the things that'll make him effective right away, and the things that I wish that I knew as a rookie.
So when you say he has a ton of talent, what are some things that maybe you've seen in a young defensive end here in the NFL that you see and you're like, okay, I see some potential in the way you do this or the way you do that?
Talking about Michael? Just length, size, explosiveness, all the things you want, strength, physicality. He's got it all.
Pretty different defensive line group this year, obviously, a lot of changes. Have you gotten to know everybody? What's the kind of the mood of this group so far?
It's been really good. We've been together for a while now, so we've spent a good amount of time together. Yeah, it's we've always had a quiet room, even when I came in initially, but Bryce is the only one I haven't really talked to much yet because he just got here, but everybody's really cool. The rookies are on top of everything, not acting too much like rookies. So, and they're cool. So yeah, it's been good.
Yourself, a lot of you guys are here obviously for all this. How much of the turnover in that room for you was kind of inspiration for you wanting to be here, and just what was kind of behind that?
Yeah, I mean, we had a longer off season this year. I spent plenty of time at home, and it was nice to get out here and get to know some of the guys. It's a very different looking team this year, so I think that was important, and it's just been cool to be out here during a time where I could kind of relax and have some fun on the weekends and hang out with the guys a little bit. Usually I come out here when it's time to just get straight to work, so it's been fun.
Nick, was there ever a point in March where you thought maybe your brother could come here?
Maybe for 5 minutes on the phone with, maybe I can't say that, but maybe for a moment.
Was that kind of exciting to even think about that possibility?
Yeah, it was. But business is business, and I'm happy for him. He's got a pretty good opportunity over there.
97.
Me.
A believer in Brock from when he was first starting here. What did you think when he got his big contract? Did you just feel like it was common sense? Just kind of, what was your emotion watching this all happen?
It's exciting. I know how stressful it could be, and he's not the type of guy who wants to hold out. So I don't expect him to be the type to change, but he did change his helmet today, so he's changing up a little bit. But no, he's playing really good right now, it looks like. So I'm excited for him to keep taking steps. He's still young and learning a lot, so I'm sure he's going to keep getting better.
With Salah back, is it just sort of, does it take you right back to your first couple of years, or things change?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I appreciate him more now, like having him back. When I was a rookie, I didn't really know what I had with him as a head defensive coordinator, so it's great to have him back, and yeah, I just like him, love him as a man. He's a good dude.
Gavin, Gus Bradley, I don't know how much of a chance you had to get to know him, but what's your kind of first impressions there?
Really cool. I knew him through my brother a little bit, so we had a bit of a relationship, and he's just the nicest guy too.
Because Eric said, having an older guy, but then he backtracked and said, I not want to say Nick's old, but being the veteran now, helping a young guy. Who was the guy who helped you out? Who did you look up to?
I mean, Buckner was a big one. Eric, D, Solomon. I mean, I had a good group of guys to look up to, but yeah, Buckner was probably the best leader and just did everything the right way, so that was good.
That still sticks with you to this day.
Man, just how to go about your business as an NFL player, just all around. No specific thing, but just how he worked at practice, how he took practice seriously, and yeah.
They say Huff is really great at getting off the football. You've been doing this a while. What is the key, if you could say it, to being good at getting off the football?
I think focusing on it every single snap. Sometimes you could be focused on other things, like what move you're about to be, what's going on, the offense is doing, motioning, whatever. If you're focused on that and that only every single play, then you're going to have a good chance of beating guys off the ball.
How have Alfred Collins and CJ been in the room?
They've been good. Quiet. CJ's talks a little more, but Alfred's pretty quiet. He's been rehabbing, so we're hoping to get him back soon. But everybody's been really cool.
CJ on the field?
He's explosive. I mean, it's not football yet, but he's got the tools, so they all do. You don't draft guys at that juncture if they don't, so it'll be fun to see him really play football soon.
The rookies aren't really acting like rookies. What do you mean by that?
Just not like when Chris calls on them in the meetings, they're on top of their stuff, and yeah, just being on top of assignments and executing no MAs on the field, which is a good thing.
So Huff, what are your expectations in terms of what he brings to the defense? What do you hope he brings?
Who's that?
Huff.
Huff? Oh, thinking of Hufanga. I mean, I think he's going to be our pass rush other side end, so that's a pretty big position to have. And I mean, he was one of the guys that I like to really watch when he was with the Jets, and obviously it didn't work out with the Eagles. But I mean, when you take a guy who's playing a 4-down attack front and then you put him in as an outside backer, it's not always going to work out so great. So he's really elite at a certain thing, so we're going to use him that way, and I'm excited to see it.
Longer break and to get back here with all contractual stuff tied up, no real distractions to speak of. Is this like day and night from right now than say like a year ago?
I don't know if it really. I think the media makes those things bigger than they actually are within the building. So it's been nice though to have everybody.
Watch a lot of your film from last year, and how did you assess how you did and where you need to improve?
I actually watched a lot of my prep for the 22 season recently. A cut up in my folder that Chris had sent over. And I just kind of watched what I was focused on and what I was working on intentfully going into that year. And it was interesting to see because a lot of the time at this point in my career, I've played so many years that I forget exactly what I was focused on each year going in because you're always trying to pick a couple things to really focus on. And kind of just reminded me to keep honing in on the things that make me elite and not getting too caught up because you only have so many reps in football. You don't have that many reps to practice. So sticking with the bread and butter, and then obviously I could work those other change-up moves, but just kind of focusing on the things that make me great.
Talking to some of the coaches yesterday, they were saying how you guys have these things called get-betters, where there's specific things on the defense that they use to send you guys off into the offseason to get better at. Could you be specific about what your get-betters were?
I'm trying to think what my meeting with Chris was 5 months ago. I'll get back to you on that one. Yeah, I definitely do. Yeah.